Nope, got it. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I call the meeting to order. City Griffin Board of Commissioners, September 28, 2021. Commissioner Holly Murray will lead the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by Commissioner Truman Tinsley leading the invocation, followed by Chief Mike Yates, reflection of the life and service of Sergeant Todd Thomas. Please rise.
Please stand and face the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Most gracious Heavenly Father, we are here today to ask for your blessings and guidance in the performance of our duties as elected officials. We pray for strength, love, knowledge, and understanding. Help us to recognize and solve the problems that are presented. Make our solutions fair and just, with the best interests of everyone. Help us to overcome our shortcomings, keep us united as a team to work for the betterment of the city and its people. We pray in your name. Amen.
Chief Yates.
I'm sure that all of you are aware, but perhaps some of our folks from the public are not. We lost one of our police officers today due to COVID. Michael Todd Thomas has been an employee with the police department since 1999, and he passed away about 11 o'clock today from complications due to COVID. And I would ask that you consider a moment of silence on his behalf and on behalf of his family.
Let's please have a moment of silence.
Thank you for your consideration. Please keep his family in your prayers.
Thank you, Chief. And for the record, we started the meeting officially at 6:01 tonight for a public hearing. We have a agenda as presented. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda as presented? Mr. Brock with a motion, Mrs. Murray with a second. All in favor, signal by raising your hand. Give 6-0. There are no presentations or delegations tonight. We'll move into citizen comment. At this time, the mayor opens the floor to comments from the audience. Comments should relate to specific agenda items not listed on the agenda for public hearings or to a concern within the jurisdiction of the city. Commission meetings serve the purpose of conducting city business and are not a forum for the unlimited expression of opinion. The mayor reserves the right to limit comments to matters germane to city business and may refer speakers to the city manager or other staff for a resolution. With that being said, is there anybody on my left side like to come before the board? Yes, ma'am. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Sharon King, 143 Cumberland Road.
Welcome.
Thank you. I am a community advocate. So I have 3 different items that I would like to talk about this evening. I'll keep it very brief and short. The first is the city had expressed interest in putting a road on Lexington and Kentucky to connect at the dead ends. Just want to let you know, I spoke to the citizens and they are all in favor of that. There was one person that did have a concern, but I think that it could be addressed through speed bumps or some other creative way. The other thing is to invite you guys to come out tomorrow night at the Dundee Ballpark on West Philly Street at 6 o'clock. We will be having a community meeting to discuss the possibility of putting a park next to Dundee Ballpark. Again, that's at 6 o'clock tomorrow, if you'd like to join us. Now, the third thing I have is a little bit more difficult, and I'm actually just going to read it so I don't get emotional. On June 28th of this year, a report came in through the citizen about a complaint against Griffin Pd. The witness stated that on June 24th, that they were on Chapel Street and saw a child who was upset and a white male officer, thin-built with dark hair, walking away from the child. The citizen asked the child if he was okay, and the child stated that the officer drew his gun on him. When asked why, the child said, "He thought my fireworks were gunshots." The witness stated that the fireworks could be seen from the air, and the child did not have any other toys or weapons at all. On July the 14th, I requested an open records request for the radio traffic and Griffin PD shift assignment for that day. From listening to the radio traffic and cross-referencing it with the Griffin Pd shift assignment, I learned that there were 2 officers that were involved in this incident. Officer Conaway, who is the one who allegedly pulled the gun on the child, and Officer Colcom, who was also patrolling an area. You might remember Officer Colcom, as he is the officer who pushed the female Griffin High School student so hard that she fell backwards, almost hitting her head on the brick wall. On July 15th, I submitted an open records request to view the body cam footage of Officer Conaway. I was denied by Chief Yates, stating that the body cam footage could not be released because it was, quote, being used in an open or ongoing investigation, end quote. I narrowed down the time and made my request again and asked that if he still couldn't release the video footage, that he provide the case number associated with the ongoing and open investigation. I received back the case number 21003683, which was assigned to a theft and shoplifting call at Lowe's 2 days prior to the date in question. I called the investigator assigned, Richard Howell, who confirmed that the case number was associated with an open investigation. I personally could not logically connect how an officer self-initiating himself to a fireworks call that happened at 311 West Chapel Street on 624 is relevant to an ongoing shoplifting investigation at Lowe's that happened 2 days prior, but benefit of the doubt. I spent the last 3 months calling every week or so to ask Investigator Powell if the case is still considered open and ongoing. The first few times I spoke to him, he's very pleasant, but seemed confused as to why I was asking him to release body cam footage. Over the last few weeks, I have left messages for Investigator Powell to call me and let me know the status of the case. And I emailed him earlier today and I have not received any response. I'm here today to ask for your help. I ask that you request Chief Yates to release the body cam footage as originally requested. No matter what is found on the footage, it's going to be good for the city, because if the Officer Conaway is not shown pulling his weapon on the 11-year-old, then this goes away. If he is shown pulling his gun on the 11-year-old, then the city can immediately respond. So the situation like Tamir Rice murder will not happen here in our city. Releasing the videotape is the correct thing to do in this situation, even if it hinders the investigation of property, because we need the message to be clear to the citizens. The city of Griffin does not put property over people. Thank you.
Can
And
you
also,
leave a copy of that or email a copy of it to Ms. O'Connor?
yes, actually, I have my letter that I sent narrowed down in the times to Chief Yates. I can just give her that.
Okay,
And
that'd be great.
Thank you
so
so
much for your. Is there anybody else on my left that'd like to come before the board? Is there anybody on my right side like to come before the board? Last call. Thank you very much. Moving into public hearings are conducted to allow public comment on specific advertisees, issues such as rezoning ordinances, policy development, operating budgets, and other legislative actions to be considered by the city commission. First item tonight is receive comments regarding resolution to adopt the 2021 calendar year property tax millage rate at the rate of 7.083 mils. City Manager Jessica O'Connor will address.
That's okay.
You all come.
Thank you. Just open my bedroom. Good evening. This is our third and final public hearing in regards to our millage rate adoptions. We will be able to do that after this meeting tonight. We did have to begin at 6:01 based on our statute that we follow to have 3 public hearings, one of which must occur after 6 p.m. So this public hearing is definitely after 6 p.m. as was the start of our meeting. And again, I will just go to sort of the most pertinent slide right now. Whoops, which I went too far. I'm sorry, Amanda. Okay, so this year we have budgeted in our FY22 budget $4,140,500 at the current rate of 7.083. We would barely meet that at 90% collections. As we all know, our collections have been trending down for the past several years, so we are not comfortable suggesting a rollback rate. Instead, at this time, staff is recommending that we approve at the current rate of 7.083. Although the General Assembly does require us to advertise this as a tax increase, we do not consider it as such. It just keeps the taxes at the same rate they were last year. The only difference is whether or not your property value went up. So if your property was reassessed and that value increased, then you do owe more taxes only because your property value increased, not actually your tax rate. So we are recommending that that rate remain at 7.083. And I will entertain any questions you may have.
Are there any questions from the board members? Thank you, Ms. Connor. This is a public hearing. Is there anybody that would like to come before the board to ask questions, make comments, or statements? This is a public hearing. Okay. Moving into item 2. Receive comments regarding a request for a special use permit to allow place of assembly in the planned commercial development PCD district for property located at 1335 West Taylor Street. Director of Planning and Development, Chad Jacobs, will address.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So what you have before you this evening is a special use permit for a place of assembly at 1335 West Taylor Street. As you all know, this used to be a movie theater and then has, for the last number of years, been used as a place of assembly. However, the current church that was going in, we could not locate a special use permit ever having been approved. So just wanted to make sure we clean everything up, go ahead and go through the process and take care of this. Everything is in order, everything looks good. The subject property is of large enough size and sufficient enough road frontage to meet all the requirements within section 721F. Staff is recommending approval, and the Planning and Zoning Board at their meeting last week recommended approval by a 4-0 vote as well. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions.
And there are no conditions?
No, sir.
It's the same church.
Different church.
Different group of people, yeah,
Yes,
is that right?
correct. This is the Tabernacle of Praise, and they are based out of McDonough. That's correct.
Each time that it
Yeah.
changes to a different owner or a different church, they don't have to reapply.
No, because special use, as long as we're sticking to the same use. So, and that's kind of the unfortunate, whereas we couldn't find where the use had been approved. But once this is approved, special use will go with, assume that, again, the next folks that are kind of, whether it's church A, church B, what have you, they're using it the same.
Any questions from board members? Again, this is a public hearing. Is there anybody that has any questions or like to state anything? Welcome. If you could please state your name and address for the record.
Yes, sir. Timothy James McBride, and I'm a pastor of Tabernacle of Praise Church, and I just wanted to be here just to let you all know that we are excited to be in the city of Griffin. Our church is based in McDonough, but we are excited to open a campus down here. We have many families that attend our church in McDonough, and so we wanted to provide a space where they don't have to travel. And so we're excited. We're a community-led church, so we're excited about getting involved in the community. Anything that we could do to be a blessing to the city of Griffin, we're here. And I just wanted to introduce myself and thank you all so much for hearing us today. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Pastor McBride.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Is there anybody else that'd like to speak for or against or have any questions in regards to this special use permit? Okay. Moving into the consent agenda, we have items 3 through 10 to take consider on the consent agenda. Do we have a motion to take the consent agenda as a whole? Mr. Tinsley with a motion, Ms. Murray with a second. All in favor, signal by raise your hand. It's 6-0 on the consent agenda. Moving into item 11, consider a resolution adopting the 2021 calendar year property tax millage rate of 7.083. We have a motion on the matter. So moved. Is that a motion to approve?
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Tinsley with a motion to approve, a second by Mrs. Ward. Any discussion? All in favor of adopting the millage rate of 7.083, please raise your hand. All against, like sign. 5-1 with Ms. Murray voting against. Item 12, consider a request for a special use permit to allow a place of assembly in the planned commercial development district for the property located at 1335 West Taylor Street with no conditions. Do we have a motion on this? So moved. Mr. Tinsley for a motion for approval. Second. Mr. Ford with a second. All in favor, please signal by raise your hand. 6-0. Welcome to Griffin.
Thank you.
Consider a memorandum of agreement between the City of Griffin and the Three Rivers Regional Commission to perform an update on the downtown redevelopment plan in the amount of $25,000. Do we have a motion to approve? Mr. Brock with a motion, Mrs. Murray with a second. All in favor, please signal by raising your hand. 6-0. Item 14 is to consider resolution to transfer $50,000 from tax allocation district tab 1 to the Downtown Development Authority for the Downtown Facade Grant Program administered by the Downtown Development Authority, DDA. We have a motion from Ms. Murray to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Brock with a second. All in favor, please signal by raising your hand. 6-0. Item 15 is consider a purchase of two 2022 front loader Mack Terra Pro trucks at a total amount of $606,028.90 and two 2021 side loader Peterbilt trucks to the amount of $609,072 from Samsung Equipment Company through Sourcewell State Purchasing Contract with the GMA jumbo loan of $1,215,100,000 and authorize the mayor and city manager to execute any necessary documents that to purchase and financing of these items.
$1,215,000.
$1,215,100.
Make a motion to approve with a question.
Mr. Brock, do we have a second?
Second.
Mrs. Murray, we have a question for Mr. Brock.
What is the life of these particular pieces of equipment that the city uses? Do we have any sources that we can use to refab, anything of that nature?
Excuse me, how you doing? The expected life for a solid waste truck due to the hydraulics and stop and go is 8 to 10 years with proper maintenance. And will be also purchased a premium agreement to keep those serviced by the company.
Thank you. Don't sound bad.
And Commissioner Brock, Mr. Ennis wasn't here to be able to speak on this, but the maintenance in the past has not been what it needed to be. So that's why these are sort of cycling out a little quicker. And then of course, the two front loaders were the two that had a defect just in its make and model. And those were the two that caught on fire. So there's nothing we really could do about that.
And we're selling a 2008 side loader. So we got 13 years out of that one.
Yes.
Right, so we have a motion from Mr. Brock, second by Ms. Murray. Do we have a vote? All in favor, please signal by raising your hand. 6-0. Item 16, consider agreement with Red Zone Robotics for a pipe assessment of Potato Creek outfall sewer main in the amount of $148,461.75 and amend the budget accordingly for the Department of Watershed Management. Do we have a motion to approve? Mrs. Murray with a motion. Do we have a second? Mr. Tinsley? All in favor, please signal by raising your hand. 6-0. Item 17 is consider services for sewer manhole rehabilitation with Concrete Conservation LLC, lowest quote in the amount of $74,800 for the wastewater collection division of watershed management. Do we have a motion to approve? Mrs. Murray with a motion. Second by Mr. Tinsley. All in favor, please signal by raising your hand. 7-0. Item 18 is to consider a master service agreement and task order form from KCI for the feasibility study of upgraded alternatives for Shoal Creek wastewater treatment plant in the amount of $31,500 for the watershed management department. The motion to approve.
So,
Mr. Brock with a motion. Second by Mr. Tinsley. All in favor, please signal by raising your hand. 6-0. Item 18. Item 19 is consider an intergovernmental agreement to redefine the relationship between the city of Griffin, Georgia and the Spalding County Water and Sewage Facilities Authority. Mrs. Murray with a motion. We have a second. Second by Ms. Ward. Staff does approve of going forward with this at this point?
Yes.
You're good to go. Okay. All in favor, please signal by raising your hand. 6-0. And last item is consider a resolution concluding the need to reapportionment city election districts based upon the publication of the 2020 U.S. Decennial Census in accordance with the constitutional requirements of one person, one vote, set forth criteria for adoption of a new election district plan and establish a timeline for the process. Mrs. Murray with a motion.
gotta do it.
Do we have a second?
Second.
second by Mr. Tinsley. Any questions or comments? All in favor, please signal by raising your hand. 6-0. And that's 20 items. Good job, folks. Moving into city manager's report.
Okay, I guess when I miss a meeting, I have a lot to say after that. Sorry, I'll be quick. Don't forget your strategic plan community-wide rollout is next Wednesday, October 6th at 8 a.m. That's at the UGA Student Learning Center, room 105. So y'all have all adopted that. Each governing body has, and it's now time to present that to the committees and the community members. So if anybody you would like to invite personally, please do that. I have forwarded you that invitation, so you're welcome to forward it along. Also, we talked about this morning, but do not forget Joint Water Authority meeting on October 12th at 8:30. And I'm sorry, that's not actually correct. That's a meeting between the Spalding County Water and Sewerage Facilities Authority and the city of Griffin. So that's something that is required by contract for us to get together and just talk about what we're doing.
That's at 8:30.
8:30 on the 12th at the senior center. I will be meeting again with Dr. Ledbetter on our service delivery strategy discussions. We've decided that we think we can get pretty close to getting a recommendation with all of the bells and whistles, all the different cost allocations and other things that may come along with those services. And so we are still meeting there, but we're not quite ready for you all. So we will do that and give you a meeting date once we get together a couple more times. I need a volunteer for a cemetery entryway committee. Former Commissioner Morrow is going to be on that committee as well as a staff person with Mr. Walker. But we need somebody else that's currently on our board that would like to have some kind of ability to make a recommendation to you all for what our entryway looks like. This would be historically at 3rd and Poplar. You want to do that?
No, I want to nominate Doug. No, I don't want to do it.
Do what?
No, I don't want to do it.
Is there anybody else that would like to serve on that capacity? If not, I'll be
We
more than glad
don't
to.
think it will be lengthy. We want to bring this to you in October to present it at the workshop. It's been budgeted, but there are some possible ideas that would include closing the street. And so it could be a bigger deal.
Chairman Tinsley,
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Tinsley.
thank you, sir. Everybody's dying to see you.
Okay, District 4 fall meeting for GMA, you also all received from Terrell Jacobs. It is next Wednesday as well from 11 to 1 at Newton Center. If you want to participate in that, you need to register online or let me know. I have not registered myself, so I'd be happy to register anybody else that wants to participate.
I'll be there. I gotta speak.
Have you registered?
Just, I told him I'd be there because I'm speaking.
Okay, anybody else want to go?
Where
Where we going?
This is our District 4 fall meeting for GMA.
Lunch included.
At Newton Center from 11 to 1, Mayor Holder is going to talk about equity and inclusion.
What day, Ms. O'Connor? What day?
Wednesday, October 6th.
I can tentatively go, but I might be back.
Y'all can just let me know after, but I think I have to let them know by Friday.
Okay.
So if you would like to go, they are preparing a very nice lunch, it sounds like, so we just need to give them a heads up that we're coming. Also, next week is Georgia Cities Week, so next week is busy. We will start that Sunday with our food truck flying, which was a huge event last year, bigger than we imagined. So we hope to see everybody at the airport on Sunday. We have a couple events that are just for employees, like our Safety Expo on Tuesday. There's actually a cookies and chat with the city manager on Thursdays at 10 and 2. They'll have an opportunity to meet with investors next week for their retirement plan. And then what am I missing, Patrick?
Public Power Week.
Public Power Week all week as well. So there's a cookout Thursday night for our customers to show that we support them and appreciate them.
And
So
where's
that'll
it
be a
at?
big week. Sir?
What's the location of the cookout?
Park at 6. Yes, thank you. And then 2 very exciting things. I think you all saw that we have been awarded the 2021 CDBG. So I don't know how many years that is at this point, but I think we missed one, but we've been like 12 or 13 years in a row, Dr. Keller. A lot. And we also were re-awarded our Plan First award. So we're now a Water First community, and Chad was able to reinstitute our Plan First community designation. That's a big deal. So good thanks to Chad to get that done and get us back as a Plan First community as well. And that is it.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Mr. Whalen.
It's been a good day, but I have nothing to add to it.
Thank you. Mr. McCord.
Again, I want to reiterate and pray for all those families dealing with loss due to COVID. I know that we had some other staff members that had people close to them that they lost because of this deadly disease. And just stay in prayer. We had Tommy Freeman, who was a former police officer. I think he died over the weekend or last week as well. He was working out at golf course, and he too lost his battle. Lastly, you know, it's really be easier for all of us to take the route and not vote for the millage rate as is. And it's just kind of disappointing that we never had anybody to speak out against it. And I'm just a little shocked that it wasn't a unanimous vote, but it's been easy. You know, I'm not facing any opposition. I could have easily jumped up and said, hey, I want to do a rollback of the taxes and watch the employees of our city suffer because we're not able to make a budget. So I take somewhat offense that we're not unanimous in trying to make our city work. And for whatever reason, I'm not sure. But I know it's an election year for some people. And I just don't think this is the place to campaign up here and put the city, I don't know, how do I say it? Putting the campaign promises before actually doing the business of the city. I think we worked hard, we got the numbers, we got the forecast of what is going on in the city to make it operate. And it really broke my spirit a little bit to see that happen. So maybe everybody got their reason for what they do, but you know, we try to work together as a team. And I guess we're not quite the team that I thought we were. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Mrs.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. My condolences go out to the police department and the family of Sergeant Todd. And thank you, Commissioner McCord, for calling out my constituents. I'm going to take the stance of being unified but diverse in this situation to speak out against, as you say in your words, the non-rollback of the millage rate. That is an issue we vote on. I'm clearly in the pie circle, pie chart, maybe less than 5% of a voice. I speak for my district, and I can document and show you all the phone calls, emails, concerns. I think that we all share the same vision of our city pushing forward, trying to meet the budget, but getting through to you to some of these concerns. It is an increase, whether it's labeled as that or not. Can I justify that? It's great to try to build some of those funds back up that through the years we saw depleted, but the citizens are very concerned that with the increases, the property increases, the inflation, times of uncertainty, those concerns, I had multiple calls. So I'm clearly the voice of the people, and I clearly am not promising votes or anything. I don't like to be called out on that. I'm clearly just speaking for the citizens during this time. It is, like I said, an increase, and it is. The citizens see that it is not their fault that we are uncollected, that we once had a previous city manager, he once said, hey, if the tax board, if they were doing their job, it would make it a lot easier on us. So maybe we should hit that a little differently. I don't know the answer, but citizens do see that at some point you're just going to tax yourself right out of the market. It's so easily for them to look at other communities. So it's not their fault. And I am not an opinion or anything more than the voice of the people. So I appreciate you bringing that up. I'm sorry that you felt the need to be offended by that whatsoever, but I guess the citizens offended you on that. So I'm very sorry for your stance on that. But that's the stance I'm going to take, and I appreciate everybody for what you all do. Thanks.
Mrs. Ward.
A few meetings go back, we talked about the development at Ellis Way and Johnson Pool Road. And, one of the things that I had brought to our attention was that, about the entrance and exit out, there's one road that was the remaining road. What I would like to see, maybe by the next workshop, next meeting, a plan to figure out how we, the city, will make other entrances and exits out of that, development. It's there's been more than 100 new units there. I imagine it's about 150. But there's one road in, 2 lane, 1 road out. It's very dangerous. There's been 2 occasions where, the residents were locked in the development and couldn't leave, and the ones that were not there couldn't come in. So it's dangerous. And I feel like as a city, we were responsible for not requiring the developers to put the egress, ingress, the roads, or whatever, so what have you. So I feel like it's incumbent upon us to make that right.
Anything else, Ms. Ford?
That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Tinsley?
Well, the pickleball is returning to Griffin, Spalding County, October 8th through the 10th. It's the SSIPA. Rodney, you probably know, I think it's a senior tournament. They're looking for volunteers. Basically doing anything, determine scores, they hand the players the balls to pick up any trash out there or anything. So if anybody's want to do that, let me know and I'll get you in contact with the folks here in charge. The last one was a huge success. I don't have the economic numbers yet.
I don't know, been minutes since then, but I did get a chance to go out there. And it was, you got to meet the #1 pickleball player in the world who was there. And it was well-attended tournament.
And, it rained.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the tournament, drizzle, rain, but everybody was very excited to be out there. And, I look at Griffin, and they had a tournament prior to that in Orlando. And I'm thinking, well, the Orlando tournament was probably a lot better than I know. Griffin was a lot better organized.
Mm-hmm.
Tournament was, the people represented, I think they ended up having 600 something players.
I expected, when I think of pickleball, I was expecting to see the older singers like myself, but these were young, like tennis players that were out there getting in. They were really going at it.
They were very entertaining. So, if anybody's interested in volunteering for that, let me know, and I'll get you in contact with the lady who's running that out there. So that's it.
Mr. Rock?
No comment, sir.
So, just want to thank staff for what they continue to do. Y'all keep making us look great. We do appreciate your hard work and dedication. The pickleball was a huge success and a community success. We've got the Spalding County Fair is in place right now, so be careful on Zedler Road. I want to give a shout out to Chief Hamilton and his team for having a booth out there and talking and interacting with folks. Chief Yates, your guys are doing, and gals are doing a wonderful job on security detail. And then we also have an economic development / Griffin Power booth out there as well. So we've got citizen or employees involved with the public. So it's great to see everybody. So Spalding County Fair, a few more nights, get out there and enjoy it. Corn dogs are excellent this year.
Yeah, we're good.
So that being said, thank you for a great day, ladies and gentlemen. We have a motion to adjourn. Mr. Tinsley with the motion, Mrs. Murray with the second. All in favor, please rise. Favor. Good job.